Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order, get everybody started. Thanks for being here. Ashley, will you go ahead and call roll and determine if we have quorum?
Brian Bobeck.
Here.
Michael Brown.
Here.
Peter Dillingham.
Here.
Jalen Haney. Here. Rob Seaman.
Here. We have a quorum. Thanks so much. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would stand with me to the pledge, Oklahoma pledge, and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of indivisible with liberty and justice for all. I look at the flag in the spirit. It's a symbol of peace and peace.
And a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, board members, thank you so much for being here. We've got some special guests you're going to get to hear from today. So ought to be a great engaging meeting. Just some quick comments that you may have seen before we get started. As you all are aware, we're starting full-time programs back and K-12 programs are getting started and all the fun things of school starting back. And with that, we did yesterday a ceremonial signing for an agreement that we have with OSU IT and OSU OKC that is really sharing the stage now with other colleges that want to jump in and be a part, and it's pretty exciting. So what it's going to do is take full-time program completers from tech centers that have industry credentials and give them college credit for doing that. So we had a huge set of statewide articulation agreements years ago, and then those went away with some changes from the HLC and within our local partners. And we went to more localized where we could agreements between colleges and tech centers. And now we're getting back to statewide arrangements, which are pretty exciting. So OSU OKC and OSU IT kind of led the way with that. Jessica and her team have been getting that done. You heard from Brian last time we were together. So he did a great job presenting that and getting us across the finish line. I had told him, I said, we don't talk about this, even though we've been working on it for a year and a half until it gets done, because it has been tried many times and never finished. So a really successful event that we had yesterday to celebrate that. We also just came off of Summit, which was a great event, and Gina's going to talk to you a little bit about that and share what went on there. What is really exciting as we get that going is the number of programs wanting to be added. So every school district across this state is excited about their career tech opportunities in their K-12 embedded programs, and then so many more talking about how do we get more students into a tech center program. You're going to learn today a little bit about JAG and what JAG has been doing for us, and it's exciting to talk about that. So just a lot of momentum right now around career tech, and as one of the items we're going to discuss today is talk about appropriations. We have a little more time than normal, so we're going to get time to discuss before we have to approve something, and so I'm excited about that. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started with business. So first item is 1.04, discussion and possible action of the meeting minutes from July 16th, 2026, regular meeting.
Move to approval.
Second. Motion by Mike and Pete gave a second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Ashley, will you call for a vote?
Rob Seaman.
Yes.
Jalen Haney.
Yes.
Peter Dillingham.
Yes.
Michael Brown.
Yes.
Brian Bobeck.
Abstain, was not here.
With an abstention, we cannot approve because we don't have enough votes. You are allowed to vote, so I would ask for reconsideration. You don't have to, but I would ask the group for reconsideration. You only have to approve that you don't see any errors in them. You don't have to prove that you're there, but that would be your choice. So I would ask for reconsideration if they wanted to, and we could ask council as well. Scott, is that?
Exactly, you're correct. You do not have to be present to approve them. It is not an acknowledgement that you were present and firsthand witnessed them. It's more so that you, as a board member, are accepting that this is going to be the official record moving forward. If an issue were to come up, it is possible for the board to go back and take action to amend prior minutes. Or if no action can be taken today, if we want to table that until next meeting, that's possible, but it's appropriate for you to vote even though you weren't here.
Okay, all right. So motion to reconsider is not approved, so we'll take no action on the meeting minutes today. And we will move forward to item 2.01, which is where we get into the fun talking about things that have happened. And you guys feel free to ask questions as Gina comes forward and tells us about Summit. Gina, there should be a button at the top.
Test. Can you hear me?
It works.
Well, good morning. It's great to see everybody today. I appreciate you being here, and I love talking about Summit. I've been to many of them, and it's one of my favorite events of the year. So I think the Summit fog has cleared, but it was really a successful event. We had it in Tulsa. It was the 59th annual summer conference. We now call it Summit, but it's in the summer, and it was summer conference forever. So, but it was very successful. And part of the reason why is because of our partnership with our professional organization, OKACTE, which is just right up the road here. We work hand in hand to make sure this conference is successful and meaningful for the people who attend. And so we appreciate that partnership, and we're actually going to take a deeper dive into Summit. We're on the wrong slide.
I don't know.
We're going to take a deeper dive into Summit next month as well, when someone from their office can join us. So we had 4,515 attendees or registrants. We may have had more in attendance, but that's how many people registered for our conference, which is up about 200 from last year. We had over 210 of our staff that attended the conference and volunteered and presented and hosted their respective divisions. So we're super excited. If we can get back to that slide with the big red numbers.
It's just circling. The circle is that. It's okay. The Department of Career and Technology. He always has his problem. There we go.
There we go. So we took over 200 of our staff, and once again, this was a required professional development, and right above the number 210, you can see our group photo. So that's all of the state agency staff in our blue Summit shirts, and it was just awesome. It's always awesome to bring everyone to the event so they understand why we do what we do and who we support. So we were really, really excited to have that happen. It's only the second year that we've brought our entire staff on that first day. So we love that. The top right corner, you will see our keynote speaker. His name was Darren Roberts. Did a fantastic job, has a really interesting story about how he got where he is today as a coach and a leader, but he got rejected and waitlisted for law school 3 times, 3 or 4 times, actually. 4 times, and continued to persevere, got through law school, and then decided, hey, you know what? I think I want to be a football coach. And so I think his mother dropped the phone when he told her that, because he had just, gotten through all of that education. But he had a great message for all of us. You can't get better if you're bitter. Talked about his journey. I only had one major issue with the young man, and that is that he thinks that the Cleveland Browns are America's football team. We all know that's not right. So anyway, but he was very entertaining. You can see Director Haken, he and Sky do a great job of pumping up the group and talking about how the work we do is so important and makes everyone geared up for the school year. On the bottom, if we can get, there we go. On the bottom left, I just want to mention what a really awesome event that was. We had a centennial choir made up of CareerTech educators, and they started singing from the audience. They started singing Oklahoma, and they all merged to the stage and then did our national anthem. It was truly one of the coolest things that we've ever witnessed. So that was really, really a lot of fun. So, okay, next up we have our PK-12 Ward of Excellence went to Mustang Public Schools this year, and Superintendent Fields was in attendance in a different role. He's been to Summit many, many, many times throughout his career as a CareerTech educator, but he joined us to present this award because they provide high quality, comprehensive pathways across every CT division that we have. So they are doing great things for students, making meaningful experiences so they can have success after high school. So we really appreciate the work that Mustang does, and we were honored to recognize them at our state conference. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about our CareerTech Foundation golf tournament. That is really how we tee off Summit. We do this on Sunday at South Lakes in Jinx, and I just want to recognize our top sponsors on there. We had 2 tournament sponsors, so we haven't crunched the numbers, but I think we're going to land somewhere around $8,000 or $9,000 for student scholarships, as well as support of our CTSO organization's state conferences in the spring. So we're really excited. You can see Director Haken maybe up there in his golf cart. And I'd be remiss if I didn't put a picture of my son on there. That's his team. They took 3rd place. So it was a really special day to have him there. And we just appreciate all the support for that. So that is a very, very brief summit recap. As I said, we'll do this again next month when OKACTE can join us. We'll take a deeper dive into some of the other activities. And before I leave, I want to share with you one of our new promotional videos. We have a statewide marketing committee or group that represents 28 of our technology centers, and we partner with an organization called AMG, and they created this video for our system, and it's really phenomenal. And so I wanted to share it with you today if it will play.
We need people in the workforce constantly. In the next couple years, in the construction industry alone, they're talking like we need 500,000 people to go into that workforce, and that's just one industry.
We've got the strongest career tech, honestly, that I've ever seen in my entire career is in the state of Oklahoma. If we lose that and take that out, then our businesses also suffer. Our businesses suffer, we go someplace other than Oklahoma.
I think CareerTech brings a very unique advantage to being able to foster and align with what industry needs and with what our country needs. We have the ability to pick up trends in industry quicker with CareerTech than we do with the other academic infrastructure.
We're a people business, and what we do requires humans. It's really challenging, especially in a rural area where we are, to attract healthcare talent. CareerTech has been really critical because if we don't have medical assistants and nurses, we can't see patients.
So the workforce gaps we're primarily going to see are going to be at our crafts. I think CareerTech comes in and is able to help bridge that gap to get young people interested in the trades.
My dad used to be a teacher, and one of his students came up to me and she was talking about like what she did, and she's a traveling rad tech actually. And I was like, well, what's that mean? And she was like, well, I'm an x-ray tech, like I take x-rays and I get to travel all across the country. And I was like, that sounds pretty neat. And so I was like, I think that's something I want to do. And then I went and talked to the professor at Cameron. I was like, what do I need to do in high school? Like what would benefit me down the line? And she was like, go to CareerTech.
For me, CareerTech has probably some of the most opportunities. They learn better leadership skills and they're more confident. You're going to get something that you can take with you no matter where you go.
It's more than just a small impact in one industry. They impact many industries and the lives of so many young people.
It gives me like a source of like direction of I've already found something I love at such a young age.
You get all the information that you really need, and you get it set in stone. That way, whenever you go out to the workforce, you actually excel.
I don't know that we could maintain what we do without them. They're that critical to what we do. Outside of a medical provider, a dental provider, a pharmacist, CareerTech supplies our workforce.
Within CareerTech, we can create an infrastructure to be able to equip our workforce, to be able to allow the workforce to rise as the technology continues to move forward.
How would you say you have changed from 2 or 3 years ago to now?
Number one would be leadership.
I feel like I am now more organized, more well-spoken.
Definitely communication skills.
Definitely thing I've learned is never give up. The difference between somebody living and dying is going to be, that's on you.
I've never been a big people person, outgoing person. This program has really helped me with that because it puts me outside of my comfort zone. Like I carry myself different since I've been in this class. It's just given me a different kind of confidence.
So I've seen the young men and young ladies that come through there and it kind of jumps their, say, maturity level, right? They kind of start understanding kind of what the real workforce is about. They're anxious, they want to learn.
There is an academic aspect where folks are coming out of it better equipped to be able to do the work, but also the personal connection to the product that we're building and the passion around the industry is also seeing a growth.
Depending on whichever program you have, there's going to be pipelines created for you that can set yourself up for a job right after this.
My program is a 9.5-month program, and I'm out and I'm making money. 9.5 months to be able to almost double my family income was like the biggest draw into it for sure.
The fact that you can come here and get the certifications that you need to go into a career that you'll enjoy, I think that's amazing.
By the time I'm 19, I will have an A&P. There's 60-year-olds that are trying to get theirs right now. I would say I'll have a step up.
I want to help people. I want to be somebody who can be a shining light in someone's time of darkness and build them up and lift them up in any way I can. That's why I'm so glad CareerTech exists in Oklahoma.
CareerTech has basically changed my entire life. It's given me more confidence, and it's helped me figure out what I want to do with my life.
From students and industry is just phenomenal. So we appreciate those that put that together. Any questions for me on Summit or any? Partnership with statewide marketing and AMG.
You're going to hear more about one of these videos here in a little bit when Bill talks. Good, thank you, Gina. As she mentioned, the summit is something we do in partnership, but it's also required by the rules that you all enforce or create here at the agency to make sure that all teachers come and get their professional development that we require and make sure they're aware of what our divisions do because we are so unique in how we operate. That was put into place decades ago so that every teacher that is part of our system comes to be part of the family. So it's pretty special. No other education entity does a conference like that. So we'll dive deeper into that and learn about awards later. Now we're going to hear another presentation. Item 2.02 is presentation and discussion of JAG National Award winners. And we're going to get an update on adult education, family literacy. TNF and Dr. Stephanie Coca is going to present all that.
I have probably the best job there is because I get to support individuals who support those in our community who are in most need and who are wanting to better their lives. And so the three programs that I manage do that. The first is adult and family literacy. There is one of our graduates. Our mission, and the video is actually a great segue to what I do because we are trying to get people into the workforce. We're trying to get them trained, get in this case, a high school diploma. So our mission for adult ed is to provide accessible education and workforce opportunities that transform the lives of Oklahomans. And our vision is empowering Oklahomans to fully utilize educational resources by creating pathways to future workforce advancement. You can move on to the next, maybe. Yeah, so we are part of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. We are Title II. And so we help adults 16 and older who are not in school and lack a high school diploma. We also help those that might be immigrants from other countries learn English and learn to read and write and be able to successfully be a part of our society in their jobs and in their community. This year was an exciting year for us. Up until this year, we had two ways that students could get their high school diploma through GED or through a high-set test. But now, thanks to one of my teammates, Lance Ali, we were able to get legislation approved to have a diploma that combined those. So if a student had some high set scores and some GED scores, we could combine those. If they have high school transcripts that show that they've completed certain things, we can put all of that together and give them a diploma. And this year, we've already awarded, since February, about 200 diplomas to people from age 80 on down. So it's been really exciting. In fact, Lance has a marbles jar that he keeps in his office, and every time a new graduate, there's a new person with our OCRD, he puts a marble in, and it's just slowly filling up. So yeah.
You guys may not remember, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
When that legislation passed 2 years ago, then we had to put rules around it. So we brought that to you at kind of in the infancy of what it would look like, brought rules when you approve them. We just now are getting that rolled out. So I wanted you to remember that it's been 2 years ago we've been working on this thing, and Lance had this idea when we came out, and now it's finally getting to work. And what it will do is really transform how we approach an individual that is a dropout and doesn't have a diploma. So you don't have to approach them all the same anymore, that we can look at their abilities.
Yeah, that's a great point, because there are so many that have almost graduated. And this makes it so they don't have to start over. They can continue where they left off. So why does this matter in Oklahoma? We have 9.8% about of adults over the age of 25 that have not finished high school. Oklahoma has the third most at-risk youth in the country, and 14.6% of people ages 18 to 24 have no high school diploma. We also have the second highest percentage in the country. Oklahoma has the fifth highest rate of young adults, who are not attending school or working and have no degree beyond high school. They're known as our disengaged youth. And so all of the programs I manage support helping those youth. So the second program that I manage is called TANF CTE, and it is for adults who have dependent children that qualify for TANF funds. If they want to get training, they can through us. We're in almost every tech school around the state. And so if they are referred to us, we will pay for their training. Thanks to DHS, we're a pass-through agency. And we will pay for support services while they're getting their training, and then we will support them to get a job in the area they've been trained in. And we look at career pathways that are have jobs in their area, so that they're not getting training in something they might not be able to get a job in. So we're making sure that we are getting them employment. Go ahead to the next slide. And so this is kind of what we do. We connect, equip, and sustain. So we're hoping to connect clients to training, equip them with skills, credentials, and support, and then help them sustain a meaningful career that lets them be a self-sustaining adult and support their families. Go ahead. So our TANF CT in practice is at 23 tech centers. We have 3 state program specialists that support 16 TANF navigators across the state, and those TANF navigators are the ones that work directly with TANF individuals to provide the support. Okay, and this is what we came here for today. JAG is the third program that I manage. It's called Jobs for America's Graduates. Its mission is to empower young people with skills and support they need to succeed in education, employment, and life. The vision statement: all young people are prepared for future success, realizing that they are capable of extraordinary accomplishments and can change the world when challenged and stimulated. We at JAG our goals are to prevent dropouts, build skills, explore career pathways, and provide 12 months of postgraduate support, that's one of the pieces that I love about it. Is after, a lot of kids, they graduate, and then what happens to them, right? Unless they have parents pushing them on. Well, our JAG specialists work with them after high school to help them. And one of our specialists will talk about a kid that he's going to be supporting after he leaves here today who graduated this year. So what does a JAG specialist do? They are a caring adult and a certified teacher. They act as a counselor and a coach. So they're giving them advice, supporting them, but they're also pushing them to do things that are out of their comfort zone. They're an advocate and a mentor. They are also an advisor with JAG National, the Career Association. And so they get to work with other JAG specialists across the nation and trade great ideas and collaborate. And then this is what ties into the workforce piece. They also connect with the community by being a community partner. They engage in the workforce, as well as support students in volunteer activities. I wanted to dive a little deeper into the employer engagement piece, because they go further than what I, as a high school teacher myself, what I ever saw in my career. They go a little bit further. They help students explore, they provide them exposure, but they also might find a way for them to have a job shadow or an internship, connect them to an apprenticeship somehow. And then the ultimate goal is to get them certified, possibly at tech school, move them on to the university level, or get them into the workforce right away. In Oklahoma, our program is for grades 10 through 12. We have 13 programs statewide, and we were nationally recognized at JAG National this year with JAG First Awards with 6 different individuals. In fact, I have to brag, because everywhere I went when I was at JAG National, this was my first time, people would say, "Oh, you're Oklahoma? Oh, we love the Oklahoma crew. They're so positive and they know so much." So it was great, because we are the smallest group. We were the mightiest, though. So if we look at some of our surrounding states, Kansas has a JAG. They're in 120 programs across the state with 6,000 students. And this statistic is really important. Any JAG students that graduate have a 96% graduation rate. In Missouri, they have 118 programs with 5,000 students, and they have a 98% graduation rate with their JAG students. New Mexico's program is a little different. They only are in 4 school districts, but they do an out-of-school youth program. So they connected with McDonald's, and whenever they have QR codes at all the McDonald's, so students or kids, youth that might try to find something, an outlet to improve their lives, they're there, JAG's there, and they pick them up that way. And they have a 95% graduation rate. I'm going to skip over Kentucky, but Louisiana has 180 programs with 12,000 students with a 98% graduation rate. Kentucky is the leader because the last 10 of 11 years, they've had a 100% graduation rate with all of their JAG students. So that tells you the good things that JAG does. Okay, so up first, one of the top award at JAG National is called the JAG Cornerstone Award. And I'll let you read that because it's too small for me to read. But basically, this person is the go-to person. They hold all the core values of JAG. They implement the model with fidelity. And Wes has only been doing this program for 1 year, and he already received this award. So it's a huge honor. And we'll bring him up in a minute to talk more about his program. The other award that we received at JAG National was for Veronica Tuttle, who is running a little bit late. I'm hoping she'll get here from Broken Bow. She got the award for Employer and Community Impact. Her program has been around for 5+ years. And so she's really had the time to build those connections within the community and the workforce. So hopefully she'll get here to be able to talk about her program and what she does. Alicia William Reed from Woodward Public Schools got the JAG Advantage Implementer Award. And again, this is implementing the core pillars of JAG with fidelity. The one thing I know she does really well is she lets her kids explore different avenues. She takes them to sessions where they have to learn, how much does it cost to go to the university if I want to go? How do I plan this out? If I want to go to tech school, what can I go there for? And she takes them and lets them explore those areas. And she also does a lot of volunteerism with her group. You'll see a picture of them. They prepared a community food pantry for as one of their volunteer projects. Next is Paul Dewitt from Altus Public Schools. He received the Data Integrity Specialist Award. Data is the most important thing we can get out of our school, JAG schools, because it lets us know what we're doing right and where we might need to shore up some of our policies. And so the fact that he was recognized for how well he keeps his data is a really important thing. And then Carrie Fulmer from Oklahoma City Public Schools got the Head Rush Trailblazer Award. This is someone who the Head Rush is a system we use, and it's not the easiest system. And so she gets in there and she just creates things and provides kind of a model for the rest of our state and for the nation, really. Okay, so now I'm going to ask Wes to come up here because he's going to talk about JAG's impact on Oklahoma. You want to come up, Wes?
Well, I just thought it was doing my job. I mean, I really did. I didn't know there was a national award when I got into this. So I do have 3 pictures up here. I can't stand behind a podium. I teach my kids that doesn't work. So the kid on the left, we'll start with him. He was the student that when he was selected, because you go through an interview process to even get in with me. You're nominated, then you go for an interview process. It's an agreement between them and I. When he was on my list, teachers were like, "Whew, good luck." I don't know what you're going to do with that one. He received in 1 year, his senior year was his first 4.0 in his entire life. His GPA is not good. It's not good. He has graduated, but he received his first 4.0 for 2 semesters in his entire life. He is now in a tech center going to do IT, but we took him to OSU IT like you were talking earlier, and we got speaking with their IT department, and his tech center is going to cooperate with them, and he's going to get actually college credit for his tech center, which was really, really cool. So his end goal at first was just the 13th year in our tech center. He now has an end goal of OSU IT. So he's not done. What we didn't know about him, he is an unaccompanied youth. His dad was incarcerated. His mom was deemed incompetent, I think is what they deemed. We didn't find that out until about midway through first semester, which we got to go through, and we then able to fill out Oklahoma's Promise and get him full ride tuition. That was a thing that it was just in conversation in the class of what we do. So we took him to OSU IT, and he's in the middle, and he got to fly a drone for GSI surveying. And he was like, "Get in here. I need a picture of you and I." So that's a drone footage from OSU IT. And the amount of emails is like, "Can you send me that photo?" was unreal. And he was my homecoming candidate. Like, yeah. But when he drove by, I was like, "I'm so glad. How did he get there?" And I'm like, "Not really sure, but we're here." He texted me the other day. He's at Comic-Con. I mean, we hold that relationship 12 months after. That I was telling my administration, which I can't praise enough, who support me. They're forced to be my friend for 12 months. And they're forced to talk to me once a month as a contact, as a follow-up to guide them. He talks to me once a week. "Hey, I need help at my job." I had to call in, and they gave me this response, and it just sat uncomfortably with me. How do I combat this? So then I called him, met with him. We talked through it. He's still employed. He's doing well. He actually got a promotion out of the deal. He got a raise in a trainer position out of the deal, which was wild. I don't know how that happened. Now the young man on the right, she said, "I'm going to tell you a story about I'm going to help somebody after this." This young man came into my classroom, very bright student. But his first words to me when I said, "What are you going to do when you grow up?" He said, "I'd like to go to college. I can't afford it." I don't have money. I said, okay, well, let's look at our stuff. I found out his ACT, his GPA, his all kinds of stuff. This young man now has a full ride tuition to East Central University. And after I leave here, when I go back to McAllister, I get in another vehicle and I pick him up and I move him into college. He is homeless at this moment. He's lived on an air mattress. He's like my best friend. Like, I say that, but I talk to him about daily. He needed employment. We found him an overnight job at Walmart for a remodel project because he needed money to go to college, and to get him that time from when he graduated high school because he didn't know what to do to college. There's so many that we will lose in that summertime right after they graduate because they don't know where they're going. So he not only did that, he taught summer school for us and ran an eSports program. And then he was like, that ran out. I need money. What do I do? So he found this other one. So we got him in a full-time position at Walmart, overnight stocking, not stocking, a remodel project. Now I move him in tonight to college, and he's like, your phone better be on loud because he has 2 backpacks and we're moving in today to college. He's also in the presidential leadership program. He is terrified to public speak. He can't stand it. And he was like, you're going to speak this morning? You need to pick me up? I will come speak. And he was willing to come speak to you guys. And he was, the first time I've been told to speak, I thought he was going to throw up. But he's like, I'll come speak. Jag changed my life. And I was like, wow. Okay. And again, I just thought I was doing my job. They gave me this and I was like, cool. I like kids. This is fun. Let's do it. I know she said data. I know this is my first year. For Jag McAllister, we have 100% graduation rate. And over 9 students in my program, we have over $101,000 in tuition. We have found $101,000 to move towards secondary education, whether that's trade school, tech school, all of the above. Now, again, you can pile from multiple universities. We've got, I think, 20-something college acceptances, trade schools, all over this, over 9 kids. That's just in 1 year. What can I do in 4 is going to be amazing. It's a program that I never thought. Moral of the story, I'm a Jag kid. I grew up, I have close to 20 barriers in my life growing up. So I relate to my kids. I get to know their barriers. We can overcome their barriers. That's the thing about Jag, that I got a good luck, have fun after graduation. I dropped out of college twice, changed my major 7 times. I did not have fun. I struggled. I now have a master's degree, and I'm an educator who's doing all right. But those are some things that I have for just Jag McAllister that I see a value for you guys to understand that that's what I do day-to-day basis. So I will have to get back to work as soon as we get out of here, but that's the follow-up that we're talking about. And from what I understand, kids feel so lost when they get out of high school, and I won't let them get lost. So that's all I have for you guys.
Question?
Yeah, if anybody's got questions of how it works or what I do, I will gladly answer your questions of what I do. So, administrator is over there. Yes, so I have my principal, Miss Lori Smith, and I have the jack of all trades, head of instruction and learning, teaching and learning, Ms. Delilah Rodriguez. I could not do this program without a supportive administrator. And that's what I mean, when I come and say, this has to be done this way, and this is what I have to do, can I take these kids to go drive excavators today? They're like, okay. And that's a real story. I took a bunch of kids and we got in excavators and skid steers with an employer partner there in McAllister who actually employs one of my Jag kids who was working at Chick-fil-A, wants to be a welder. And I'm like, what are you doing at Chick-fil-A? I know somebody. So he now works at S3 Construction. He's at boot camp right now. He comes back and he's going to have a job at S3 Construction, and he works construction in high school, getting experience, building his resume while he's there. But we did drive excavators with people that want to be lawyers, and they changed their mind on the way home. They're like, I kind of want to do that. And I'm like, hold up. I know you got to dig in dirt. They didn't yell at you for hitting a pipe because you busted the pipe a minute ago. But we do that, and I've got pictures of that. So if anybody wants pictures of kind of what we do or any questions, you guys can reach out to me and I can answer any of those for you.
What I'd like to add really quickly is the barrier piece that he was talking about. So we have to document barriers for each of our students. And it's hard to say, okay, what barriers do you have? Well, we're not going to do that, but that's how we get to know them and we figure out their barriers. But getting them at this age, before they get to my adult ed program or my TANF CTE program, getting them at this age is vital so that they can start supporting themselves from the get-go and not have to fall into government assistance. So thank you for having us today.
Stephanie, I just remind the board as we brought this program on, and how you Stephanie in this role.
Even a year.
That's what I thought. She's pretty new. So done a great job taking on 3 difficult areas that are pretty new to us. JAG, as we've ran it, is really new. We're in our 3rd year, starting 3rd year right this year. And a couple schools had ran it under Kansas before, and that's why we're trying to build this out right now. It's in partnership with DHS, and they're funding that. We've asked the legislature 2 different times for funding for that, and we'll continue to ask. One of the things that we're going to talk about is the budget request, and that's why it's important. When we ask for the Empowered Oklahoma money, that's what it is for. But we've just found ways to try to get it moving in Oklahoma, because CareerTech is a fantastic system that has great CTSOs that students can be a part of, but there's still a lot of students that get overlooked. And that's why we needed to add JAG, is so that we can serve more students that are at risk or need help or have barriers that we're not reaching now. So that's kind of the purpose of why JAG is with us. Yeah. Thanks, Stephanie.
We get his contact info.
Yeah, I can do that. Yep. He wants your contact info. We're gonna give it out. We won't do it over the speakers for anyone that's watching. 3 a.m. So. Yeah, thank you so much. It's pretty great to see the recognitions and the presentations that we have. Stephanie, you've got another one that may be coming this way, right? Okay, so
If she comes.
yeah, I want to stop. We'll stop what we're doing and introduce, and then if you guys can stay till she gets here, then we'll do a picture. We'll take a break there and get a picture. But we'll keep moving until she's able to get here, if that's all right with the board. We'll move into management items. 3.01 is FY28 appropriations request discussion. In your packet, you'll see FY27 request. We'll start there. This is a great opportunity, as I mentioned earlier, where we can have some open discussions and really ask questions that we haven't been able to do a lot before. There's no set time or any set questions. I just wanted you guys to be able to talk openly about it, because usually what you're getting is me bringing you a draft of this and then you're asking questions. So we've got a little bit more time this year. Oh, she's here. All right. I'm going to stop before we get into that management item. And Stephanie, if you'll go ahead and introduce her, and then we'll take a photo.
So, I've told you about Miss Veronica Tuttle already. They know her as Miss V, but I want to introduce her again. And I hope I don't put you on the spot, but I'd like you to talk a little bit about what you do and why you got the award you got from JAG National.
Thank you so much. Again, my name is Veronica Tuttle. I'm with Broken Bow High School. I'm actually entering my 5th year with Jobs for America's graduates. Kind of flew by the seat of my pants for the first couple of years because we didn't have state funding. And so 3rd year came in and we were able to jump right into the middle with a little bit of state level direction. And we've been doing really wonderful things since then. So my award is for employer connection and community impact. For employer connection, the thing that I do most is try to make connections with companies within our area. And I set up tours in those companies. And one that we recently did was to go into Huber Engineered Woods, which is an international company, and they were able to show all of our students jobs that some of them do require degrees, most of them do not. And so they are having the opportunity to learn trades on the job straight out of high school. And so they went and they interviewed through questions at the people, what about this, what about that? They were able to speak with the direct supervisors of everyone in the company and learn about all of the different opportunities that they had to be employed in that company. The next part of it is the community impact. I'm going to sit this stuff down. The community impact. I am a huge advocate of community service, and I think it is so important for our students to be aware of the population around them. I think it is so important for them to learn and practice gratitude, and this does all of the things for these students. So what my students do is they go throughout the community, they take donations, whether it be clothing, household items, could even be furniture, baby items, whatever people want to donate. We gather it all together, we process it, we organize it, and then we take it to our main hallway in our high school, and we set it up what looks like a huge garage sale. And so when people from the community come into that event, they are able to come in, we feed them breakfast. So we do all of the budgeting and everything to get all of the things for the breakfast. We create a situation where they can come in and they can have breakfast. And then when they come into the event, we tell them whatever needs that you have, if it is here, we want you to take it. We do not take donations of a financial nature at this. We are simply trying to meet the needs of our community prior to going into the holiday season. And it is such a rewarding feeling to know that so many people are walking out with what they need going into the cooler months, going into the holidays. We're helping alleviate some of the financial pressures of the holidays for them. And the students are the ones doing all of the work. I get to direct and say, yes, that's a good idea. No, this is not a good idea. Let's make this happen. And I'm fortunate that my husband also steps in and helps with those types of situations. And the kids love him. He's kind of a local celebrity. They see him out in the field, and he says, "Oh, you're Mr. V." Well, our last name is Tuttle, but because the students call me Mrs. V, they call him Mr. V. So we have such a high population of underprivileged and low socioeconomic status students and families in our area. For the longest, McCurtain County was the lowest income population in the state. Hochatown is kind of booming right now. Unfortunately, about 200 people get all of the money from that. And the rest of the people, all of the poverty is still there. All of the impact of the poverty is still there. And many of our students don't know from day to day whether they're going to have a meal when they go home from school. And when you are trying to teach students responsibility, but they don't know whether they're going to get a meal at night or not, their brain does not register that the responsibility is important. They're registering, how am I going to have a meal tonight? And brain science tells us that it takes 6 months to 2 years for a single traumatic event with a young person and to overcome that and rewire the brain. It says if there is if there's a severe traumatic experience in this child's life, it can take upwards of 6 years to completely rewire that child's brain. And we have, like I said, we are going into our 5th year with this program, but really we're only going into our 2nd full year with state funding and state direction. And so while we are generating data at this point, we do not have complete data at this point. And we know that the social emotional aspect of what we are teaching the kids is so important. I have actually gone back to college to get my clinical counseling degree so that I can help my students and their families moving forward with this program. Some people think it's because I'm leaving education. I'm not. I want to be able to retire from education when the time comes, but I knew that in order to do this program properly, I was going to need to be able to address the psychological aspects of this program. So this is the greatest job I've ever had. I love these students. I have one student who came into my program with so much trauma in his life. He had debilitating rage, and no one could talk to him without him setting off. That young man is currently serving in the Marines. He just got married. He's moving into his own home, and he sent me a picture of the car he's about to buy and asked my opinion about it. And I was able to tell him That's not a good purchase. Let's do better. So my point in saying all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is that what you are working toward continuing funding for, it is a worthy cause, and we are so thankful for what you all are investing in our students, what you're investing in us as educators. And again, just thank you so much.
Ag is the best program. We have great teachers.
Yeah, you guys want to think about board members? If you want to join in a photo, let's do that real quick.
Get in the picture. I'm thinking we're not. Oh, never mind. People are gonna get this. Okay, I'm still up there. There we go. We gotta be.
But I'm not wearing a
Look like jerk.
Oh, you're good.
Lines right there. You don't, I'm sorry. Is that better? Yeah.
Move. One for school.
I got your text. I was like, "Thanks, Joe."
Sorry, you've had a little.
Oh my gosh.
Or I've heard it about it. Is Gary and I go to church together. I hope. Gary stops eating it.
Very good.
See, I get it.
The 3.01, pretty exciting to have presentations before we talk about the reason or the way that we make those things happen, and that's through appropriations. I'll go through this. Stop me if you have questions. We're going to add some things. Our team is still talking about what can we do, how can we do things differently. You guys know we've been fortunate from the legislature to receive an increase totaling over the last 3 years, $44 million. But part of that was one-time money. A large part was $28 million in one-time funding. So not all of that is continuing to move forward to affect programs, but it did make a big difference. Before we get into these items, we are up at least 6,000 students in full-time programs. We are up about 10,000. Well, we're almost like 12,000 now since we started on this 3.5 years ago in the high school program. So it's going well, but there's still quite a demand to serve people. So last year, I think, Gina, you may correct me, we got the waiting list down to 7,400, and it will likely be back up again this year, I would assume. Every school that I've talked to has talked about how the demand is continuing to increase for enrollment. So figuring out how to battle that. One of the things I want to mention is I do think that we can do some more efficiencies. I thought I was out of efficiencies that we could make, but I think there is an opportunity, and the new superintendent and I will likely get to work on it moving forward. Lyndall and I will maybe get to start the process, figuring out how we alter the school day for high school students so that they don't have to go to school at 8 a.m. If they don't want to, they could go to an evening program with us. And so we need to change some policy to make that happen. That might be an efficiency. It still will take some dollars, but it won't take as many dollars because I don't need to build any more buildings to do that. We can use the spaces that we have and hire instructors to do evening. So that might be a way that we can move forward. Of course, apprenticeships are helping with the efficiencies as well. There's other things that we're doing, but I want to talk through how do we fund that to happen. So if we'll just look at that. The first one is really easy. When we do this every year, the flex benefit allowance, that's just a gimme. We got to do it. Lisa, I don't know that we will need an increase this year. Do you think? I mean, we haven't really.
Health Choice is looking at an 18.9% increase.
Oh, gosh.
But,
as in almost 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So forget I said we won't need an increase.
Considering increasing credit. if they offer that.
Well, I haven't heard yet.
Yeah, probably
I
so.
think we'll know more in September.
Yeah, the in lieu of, yeah, the in lieu of.
Yeah.
So as that increases, we'll probably have to ask for dollars, and then the legislature has been good to make sure, because it's mandatory for us to fund that, they've been good to increase the funding to match that. That is an obstacle that they face every year, not just with us, but with SDE as well and other state agencies. As insurance cost goes up, we've got to foot the bill. So we'll figure out exactly what that is, but that's kind of, I say easier, not that it's easy to figure out, because that's not easy, but that they have to do it. So it's just part of it. I think every year since I've been here, we've gone up. 1 year was 1.8, 1 year 1.5, this year 1.3. So it goes up a lot, and we'll figure out how we can handle it as efficient as possible. So that one kind of just check it off that it happens regardless. The workforce training, that has been the money to move to where we don't have wait lists, to where students are able to get in if they need to get in. And so, like I said, I hope we can find some more efficient ways to do that. The funding formula change has driven a lot of competitiveness within tech centers so that they want to show that they are able to serve students efficiently. We've driven the cost per program down by doing that. And so I think this last year we finished up just under $14,000 per student that it costs to run a program, which was great. If you look at our website, you can always look at the interactive data and it shows that. And so we had a statewide average of 13.9, I believe, as our data shows currently. So that's helpful, but it still costs a lot to provide for a student when you look at the training. So what we estimated is to remove that, it was going to take $41.6 million last year, or 2 years ago, sorry, 2 years ago. We got 10 million that moved us in the right direction. So we took that off and asked for 31 million last year. And I anticipate asking for dollars again to do that. We will likely have a wait list estimate. Gosh, when we do that, Gina, September last year? October is when we would have it. So we'll have time to calculate that in before we go to that request. But what thoughts do you guys have around workforce training?
What was the discussion around that last year if we asked for it? I assume we.
There's no money. That's the main discussion that we got back. But what we all realize is that things do get funded. But why is this not the number one priority? That's my question to the legislature. Why would you fund other things and not this? This is probably your biggest need. If you look at your state of what the biggest need is, they don't always agree with me on that, and that's okay. That's their job. But we have funded some special projects in Oklahoma, and we need to find a way to recognize this as a large priority, because we gave away hundreds of millions in new money last year as a state. Hundreds of millions of new money.
What's competing with this? When they say we have no money.
Yeah, it's everything. So it's lower taxes are impacting some collections, because collections have been flat, which is kind of a state prerogative. So then when you look at that, everything in the state budget competes with that. Common education, higher education, mental health. We had to bail out mental health as a state 2 years ago. They were in a deficit of $40 million. We had somebody in another agency before that. I don't remember which one that was, but every year there's something that we've got to fix, it seems like. Yeah, healthcare in general.
But so it goes to like fires. It puts out fires. It doesn't.
We send them-
So we're
yeah.
presenting a sustaining problem and they're like, sorry, something else is burning down.
In my opinion, yes, we do not have a problem in CareerTech. You're not going to see this agency ever be in a deficit. You're not going to see us on the front page of the newspaper having a problem. So
But we
it's
do have
harder.
a challenge.
We do have a
The
challenge.
challenge is there's kids that want to be trained that aren't getting trained.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and this has been going on for a long time.
Yes.
And we got 28 million bucks.
Mhm.
We grew, that's great,
Yeah.
but that's not an excuse for not coming up with some newer ideas to fix the challenge. And I'm gonna tell you something. Economic development is going to hurt in Oklahoma if we don't figure out this workforce deal. I mean, we have all kinds of great opportunities, business-wise. People want to come to Oklahoma from all over, okay? California, Oregon, New York. The biggest challenge that we face when they come here is who's going to work for us? Man, I'd sure love to see our CareerTech come up with the solution to that. And it's not just money.
Yeah.
It's gotta be something, new ideas. I've talked to superintendents, you know, like I don't have enough teachers. I gotta build a new classroom. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. We gotta come up with newer ideas. I don't know if we come up with a competition. Look, all the new career techs, 29 career tech, we're gonna give $1 million to somebody who comes up with the very best solution. We gotta have some newer ideas to help fix it, because this has been going on since I've been on this board.
Oh, yeah.
So
Since 2019,
at
really.
some point in time, it's gotta become unacceptable to us. So the fire needs to be, hey, guess what, legislature? This is the fire this year. This is the fire. We understand you have issues everywhere, but this is the fire. So if we can come up, I'm willing to help. If there's a task force we gotta put together, some way. Obviously, this bothers me. We have people that want to be trained. And I get it. Some of these don't, I understand the wait list isn't always perfect people to go in there, but a bunch of them are. So.
Absolutely.
I'm done. I'm off my side.
I do think part of that solution is changing the school day in Oklahoma. I noticed other states have done that more, so I think that's part of it. I don't think it'll fix it all, but I think we have to keep finding options. What are our other options? One of the things you're going to hear about in the strategic plan is how do we increase revenue other than state dollars? And so we're looking at other funding streams that might be possible for us to bring in. And that's something we haven't necessarily been good at before. One of the things that I think we can do within our technology centers that's been working, because some have agreed to do it, is you're not charging enough for your adult tuition. And I'm pretty blunt about that with them. When you're charging $2.25 for adult tuition, so a 1,000-hour program is costing somebody $2,000 or a little over, but I just told you it costs $14,000 to educate them. So we lost a bunch of money. Meanwhile, about half of them are on Pell. Pell pays $7,800 a year, but we're only using $2,000 of it. It makes no sense. And so we, to your point, we have to make some changes, and it's been slow to adapt because that doesn't read well. Oh, we're going to increase tuition. That's not going to read well, but we have to. And so we've been doing that slowly. We do have some schools at $5 an hour now, which is getting better. So I think, to your point, thinking differently, but not one silver bullet. Let's find one thing at a time. What's the lever that we pull on to make that happen? The legislature is going to have to increase funding at some point if they want this to change. They have to have some buy-in as well. If we believe in a state system that works, we have to have some buy-in, but I think we have to have some buy-in as well.
Well, we gotta have something new, okay? The legislature is gonna fund something that looks like new hotness.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Instead of the way we've always done it, which is sadly a tendency of bureaucratics.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like, this is how you fix it. Well, this is not how we fix it. It's not working. So, and we have a lot of successful kids that are involved in after-school programs, okay? So they can't go to CareerTech because there's classes.
Absolutely.
So if you said, hey, we're gonna do some morning stuff, so that kid that's playing football or that girl that's playing volleyball can still take our classes and be an athlete, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ask you something about the buckets of money, because you're right, like, if we're competing against other things that are essentially more on fire, why can't we compete in a different bucket of money? Like, are there different buckets of money? And if we're competing in this one and we can't compete because everything else looks more urgent, can we move over and compete in a different area for different dollars? Like, is it all literally just one bucket, or are there other areas where we could move ourselves into a different competition for that money?
It's a good question. The legislature only has one bucket that they can work with, but that's where I said we're looking at federal revenue, looking at other agency revenue, the TANF program, and why we changed that. And so that we could use a little bit of DHS dollars to get people trained. And so changing that mindset. We're also shifting tech centers mindset where you are community public service, where you take people in off the street and look for training, because a lot of times they have assistance dollars, whether it's TANF or whether it's others, SNAP dollars, whatever it is, they can pay for that. And so that makes the economy better, because now they're a taxpayer, not a tax user. And it also goes to filling a seat that may have not been full in a program because not every program's full. We get that misconception in our head that because we have a wait list, every program's full. Well, not every one of them. Some of them have 3 or 4 seats open, and we need to fill those up too, and find a need for operating that program. So there are ways that we can improve to get into other buckets of money, but the legislature only has one. They have it's about a $12 billion budget in the state of Oklahoma.
I think there may be some, and new monies is what's important, okay? Because basically you got the one bucket, everybody's fighting over it.
Oh, yeah.
okay? So it's easier to get new money if you can be creative enough to figure out what it is. So one idea, you have all these economic development entities all across the state of Oklahoma, okay? I can tell you in Lawton, Oklahoma, we would love to have a great idea of how, we thought we had a company who's gonna help us do that. That ended up sadly being a little bit of a bust. But if CareerTech came up with a program and said, here's how we're gonna start help creating trained people for your new prospects, they may be willing to help fund. And so if you have, 50 Lawton economic development corporations across the state, those are usually private entities or public-private partnerships from across the state, and you get a little bit from each one of them. Now, there's some funds, it's not 28 million bucks probably, but it may be.
But it's another lever.
Significant. Yeah. And I think your point is valid. You're not gonna find that one silver bullet and just fund it all at one time. We're gonna have to come up with 2 or 3 different things that feed the whole, so.
Absolutely. So my plan is for workforce training is to be more specific about what we're going to be able to do and how we can pull on levers, so that I can show the legislature that that's not a waste of money, that we can actually increase it tenfold or whatever that is. And so that's my hope, the workforce training dollars, is we can change that request. Maybe the dollar amount is different, but also show them what does that dollar amount do, so that we can figure that out for them. I think there'll be a demand. The next one on the list is the K-12 program support. We have increased programs, 280 new programs over the last 3 years. That'd be your ag programs, your FACS programs, BMIT programs, STEM, all these other things that are embedded that are not in a technology center, but do a great job of showing students what careers exist, but also start getting them on a certification pathway. So some of those are only K-12 like ag, and then some have both tech center and ag programs. It's a smaller request, and what that is program support. So when a K-12 buys in that they want to have a program, they want to have a family consumer science program, we offset that with $412 and a very small amount. So we usually give between $8,000 and $13,000 in $412 money. So it's a small amount, but it buys their supplies and the curriculum that they need to be a CareerTech program, because that's not normal for what a K-12 is doing. They're usually in an only purely academic realm, whereas we're adding something that's co-curricular. So we offset their dollars somewhat. With other programs, there is summer support that we offer. So it's a variety of things that we offer. But what we had looked at is to get to the number of requests and to increase curriculum that they're doing in schools, it was going to take $5 million, $5.5 million. That's likely a pretty solid amount with the requests that we have if we continue to operate that in the same way. So I don't know that it's not as hard as the workforce training dollars. Last year was the first time to request that in 2 years, because we had got $3 million 2 years ago, and we did increase that, like I said, 280 programs. Okay. Any questions there? One of the fastest growing programs that we have been adding, if you look at specific discipline, is the maintenance curriculum for high school students in aviation. So Choose Aerospace cost us some money to add, and it has been a great program, but those exist in all disciplines. Okay. The Technology Center Expansion Incentive is something like Mike was talking about, that is a way to give grant funds for other people to buy in and have new ideas, great ideas to expand Technology Center service. So we have a lot of white spaces that don't currently have post-secondary trades training opportunities. So when you buy in your community, then you would get a significant grant, $500,000 per K-12 school, so that you can operate new career training to them. It's a one-time gift, not something that you're going to have ongoing. So that was an attempt to, let's start this grant program to see if people can add. We've been very successful in adding schools. We did have this from some one-time money once before. We only gave out 1.5 million in that fashion, but it worked really well. And so when we got Beaver County on, we were able to do that. That was an example of how we could make it work. We're in discussions with several school districts right now about adding tech center services in their white space. So that's still going well. Don't know if we would want to change the amount. That was calculated off of the number of schools that we were currently negotiating with if they wanted to vote. That's where that number came from. Any thoughts around that? I like Mike's idea of coming up with a grant system where we make them compete. And that's kind of the idea behind that. And I think we can add to it.
Well, and does it have to be 500 per?
No.
So that means if you got 520 schools, you know, a better way to impact might be more money. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, okay, instead of that, you got 10 schools get $1 million or 5 schools get 2 million.
Yeah.
2 million, I can go build some classrooms with. 2
Oh,
million.
yeah. Yeah.
I can hardly get started with 500,000.
We've got 3 full counties in Oklahoma, full counties that don't have tech center service. And so we could just attack those areas that are of most need. 2 of them would have a really high need. One may not have as much need, but you could attack that way too. And incentivize. What that does, when you bring a county in, it provides sustainment to the whole system because then that tax base is there from an ad valorem standpoint. So when you bring a county in, like we did with Beaver County, so you gave them a $1.5 million gift that first time to come in. Well, now you're going to have 2 million coming in annually from the ad valorem tax that's going to sustain that. So it's a way to incentivize them to buy in. That was the thought. Yeah. Everything we do, we try to have a pretty significant ROI on. So try to make sure it makes sense. And career exploration was something brand new that we asked for last year. It stemmed from a thought from the legislature and some things that we were doing in technology centers, but we can also do in K-12 where you are giving students an experience that they haven't had in CareerTech, like what you've heard at Woodward with the TAP program, what we're doing at Drumright with the Explore programs, where they have their first experience to what are all the programs in a tech center, what are the jobs that lead to that. So to expand that across the state would take $20 million. It was really something I'm sure, I kind of knew that they're probably not going to fund that, but I wanted to show what it costs if you're wanting to do that. And so that's something we'll probably continue to have discussions on. If you do want to add career exploration, like we keep talking about that other states are doing, whether that's Georgia or Alabama or what some other states have done, it's going to take you a significant amount of money to do that. Because in Georgia right now, they require every student to have a CTE course before they graduate. Everyone. So the other states are really buying in. Ohio 3 years ago gave $200 million to CTE, 200 million ongoing money to CTE. Florida just is now touting the #1 state for career pathways, which is true because they've invested almost $500 million into CTE. So we're getting left behind right now.
Most of those are in the high schools, right? I mean,
Not all. So yeah, so states are different, but Ohio is not. There are tech centers like us. But they also have high school programs. They're the most comparable to what we do. And then in Florida, it's a combination of their high schools and technical colleges. So they have 2 different split systems, but they're funding both.
not independent.
Correct.
Career tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So those are the things that we're facing when we're making this request. It looks like a large number, $68 million, but realize that's pretty small, insignificant compared to what other states are doing to invest in CTE. Yep. Questions or thoughts around that? Again, this is just the first discussion day. I want you to get the juices flowing, be thinking about it so we can discuss it again next month.
Federal funds baked into this.
Oh, that's great.
ARPA, Carl Perkins.
Yeah, so Carl Perkins funds, Lisa, Danielle, help me, $18 million this year? Yeah, $18 million. And it runs through a formula that gets dispersed to all entities. So colleges, tech centers, and K-12s with largest percentages in K-12. You remember how much?
Well, there's secondary and post-secondary. And it's about 85%. 85% of the 18 million is passed through to schools.
Yeah.
And of that 85% of that is secondary.
Yeah.
And 15% post-secondary.
So one thing that we are exploring and discussing in the agency is, can we change that? Does it need to look different where we use that Perkins money, maybe more strategic? So that's something that we're exploring how we could operate. We also are in discussions with other agencies like the WIOA dollars that are federal. We talked about WIOA Title II that operates adult ed. Well, there's WIOA Title I that goes through OESC now that has a portion for youth workforce training. So how could we use those dollars in our technology centers? And we're asking for waivers from the federal government in partnership with OESC right now to explore that. So that would be an opportunity we could add. We are out of ARPA dollars. Right?
ARPA, yes. We just processed our last one.
Yeah. So we just finished that. And then other buckets of money would be the WIOA dollars that are coming in. And then periodically we have grants that we're part of, like the Talent Accelerator Grant that OESC has now at $6 million. Our schools can train for that. So they have access if they want to go train, or if actually the industry has to sign up first, not the school, but we would have access to dollars like that. But a very small portion of school's budget is federal. So I don't remember what the exact percentage is that is our federal. You remember how a tech center breakdown was? I think it's less than 10% is federal now.
It's not.
The assumption was pretty flat or
The assumption,
from year to year.
oh yeah, it doesn't change much. Yeah, hasn't changed hardly at all. So yeah, it's about the same unless they do away with it, which keeps getting talked about. So that would be our bigger fear. Probably not going to get more, but we might get less. So that's what we're getting prepared for on many fronts. But that's a good question about federal dollars. Also remember that local dollars, when you're looking at both K-12 programs and technology centers, the local dollars make up a great deal of the amount of money. They're all different, of course, because West Watkins Technology Center is almost 80% state funded. So we supplement that quite a bit. It's a very impoverished area. But if you're looking at Francis Tuttle and Tulsa Tech and Moore Norman, those are almost all local dollars. So other than the flex benefit allowance that's going to them and a little bit of other pass-through money, some federal dollars, most of their support is local. So they're all different. It's good. Okay. Any other questions? We'll move on when you guys are ready, but I wanted you to be aware where we're at. Keep bringing up ideas. They're good. Okay, we'll go ahead and keep moving forward. We'll go into management action items. The reason that we have our next item under action, not that we will need to take action, but if there was anything that the board wanted to, they sure could. Don't foresee that, but wanted to have placed in an item on the agenda that we could work with it. 4.01 is discussion and possible action regarding the review and implementation of the strategic plan. And Gene, I think you're going to introduce our hosts. Thank you.
Hey, well, if I might, before I start with the strategic plan, I do want to give a shout out to Jeremy Zwiker. He snuck in after I talked about the golf tournament, and he is a tremendous volunteer. He's on our foundation board. He's always there to help and really is a big part of the success. So thank you, Jeremy. Just wanted to say that. So as you know, we've been on this strategic planning journey now for about, I don't know, 8 months or so. It kind of feels like, you know, having a baby. We went. It's here now, so we have to take care of it. As you know, we issued RFPs. We went through a vetting process. We interviewed about 4 or 5 other organizations, and we really just felt like the Persimmon Group was the best fit for us. Not only because they've worked with other technology centers, so they know our system, but they also are familiar with state agencies. So it was just a really good fit. And so it's been very successful. We really enjoyed working with them. They have challenged us, they have guided us, and they have also kept us accountable, which is huge when you're trying to do something of this magnitude along with your day-to-day work. So we're just grateful for the partnership and really excited to have Bill Fournette here today. He is the CEO and founder of the Persimmon Group. I think you're going to really like what he has to share.
Thank you, Gina. Before we get started, I have to give a shout out to Peter as a fellow Plainsman, but also because his family's house is where me and my friends played football in the front yard all the time with Russell Iorio and Dustin DePaul.
Yeah.
So I'm also from Enid as well. So what I want to walk you through in the time that we have, you guys ask questions as you want, as you feel see fit, but also you can welcome to reach out to me afterwards if you want to go deeper into any area of the strategy. There's several of your questions and comments, Mike, I want to kind of address as we go through this as well, because I think it's a great challenge that's out there. Let's go ahead to the first one. Just at a high level, I want to kind of ground us with what we went through. So we started with what we call a discovery phase back at the end of December, beginning of January. I spoke with several of you as well. We interviewed you as we went part of that process. We did documentation review. We did surveys to the various stakeholder groups. We had interviews and focus group conversations. Those last 2 were really to kind of get into more detail as we wanted to understand the color that we were getting from the survey. And then from there, we went through sessions. The sessions that you see on the screen, all those little blue boxes, we spread those out. So we kind of don't get into the, let's just go into either a gripe session or a response session and then look up 2 weeks later and realize, what were we thinking? That's the purpose of when we go through strategies. We build them over time in half-day sessions. We do that so it can soak in, you can review it in between, and we can make adjustments. Because it's not just coming up with a piece of paper or words on a piece of paper. It's really getting the buy-in of what's involved to execute this. At the end, all this is a PowerPoint, but they're already implementing a lot of this. We've met with the whole staff. They have engagement. They have all of these initiatives that they're tracking at this time. Our view is a strategy says where I want to get to, say, 3 years from now versus where I am today. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be shiny, but it has to be a clear path with initiatives and a roadmap that says we can achieve it. Okay, let's go to the next one. So I first want to kind of give you all a couple of what we found in the themes when we did the current state. We did the discovery. So go ahead and bring all those up if you would. Yeah, right. See, one more. There, right there. All right. So first I want to hit is agency. So the focus of this strategic plan is not the statewide CareerTech strategy. This is focused on the agency. You already have a statewide CareerTech strategy. And the key here is first on the quarterback, is that the agency is a quarterback. They can see across the 29 technology centers. They can work through to see where there's some good ideas that are emerging, where are the relationships. One of the big ones, and I know this kind of plays a little bit, Mike, into what you're asking about too, on the revenue side. We have CareerTechs that have got sponsorships. They have companies who are funding facilities and programs and instructors. Others may not be able to do that. Where can we apply that and bring some of that additional revenue stream? The second is looking at the pipeline itself. So one of the other challenges, and I like the word that you said was challenge, is that you have not just a 5 to 10 year changing of curriculum, which is how it has been for so long. It's an every year change. And it's not just in what you teach, it's in how you teach it and who your audience is. That's added a whole new level of complexity into the CareerTech system. Third is the closing of the gap. So you'll see there in bold, it says elevate CareerTech as a primary pathway, not an alternative one. Growing up, VOTEC, right, was considered an alternate pathway. You did it in high school. You weren't sure what you wanted to do. You could have a job maybe coming out of it. When you interview the kids, so I love the video that Gina shared because that kind of summed up. We interviewed 27 kids in the focus group. And I think I shared with some of you during the interview and the discovery that I wish we could have recorded that. Can't, right? Because ours was not an ad. But you don't have to sell yourselves to the kids. They all know about it. The level of maturity thinking that you saw in the video that she shared, that's exactly what we saw in her. And by the way, none of those kids were in our interviews. They know it. It's the parents, it's the grandparents, it's the aunts and uncles that we've got to continue. And this is not just a unique Oklahoma thing, this is across the board. But it's got to get up there that this is on the same level as a community college or a 4-year university, because that's what it is. And you see the kids coming out of this knowing they have a career. I shared with Director Haken and the team that I was in North Central Wisconsin doing a speaking engagement for a technology center because they're merged, CareerTechs and community colleges. And they had just got a 4-year university extension into Wausau. This is the area that I was in. Not only was it unbelievably successful, but they got the 4-year because the way they approached the legislature was when we have our nursing students go to Green Bay or Milwaukee for the 4-year, we lose them. We want people to stay. It's high dairy, high farming. We want people to have the opportunity to stay. And I think that's another thing here in Oklahoma. One of the things we have is that this CareerTech system is known as the bar across the United States. This is considered the model. When we talk to your external partners from other parts of the country, Oklahoma is the bar. But Oklahomans don't know that. When you have a 92 to 96% satisfaction rate of students and parents, I don't have any, I work across all types of sectors, public, private, nonprofit. Nobody has that. You all do. That's what's got to get out. So I think that public perception is a big one to be able to close. That also helps on the legislative side because some of these challenges, you can innovate in some areas, but there's some challenges where you can have the best engine in the world, the best sports car in the world, and you don't have any gasoline. Okay? So last one is around the culture and leadership friction internally. Working through those things of growth and scale of silos. People are stretched thin in a lot of areas because, as I mentioned earlier, you don't just have things like more students wanting to come in, new programs needing to be offered because of AI, technology, et cetera. You have changing in how you're delivering programs constantly. That's like every pressure you can just about put onto this system. And to the credit of the CareerTech agency, as Director Haken said, you're not ending up on the front news. You don't have these big deficits. They're working through this as creatively as they can with their partner technology centers. All right, next one, please. Got two more up here on this one, and then you go. All right, so legislative alignment is a big one. I mean, bluntly, it's the money where the mouth is. You have one of the best models in the country. How do you expand them? Because you have more kids wanting to come into CareerTech. Generationally, this is where they want to go. They see the value, they see coming out day one, and they know what they can do in their community. The last one there is around the strengthening of the education system, and Director Haken mentioned about the signing of the 2 agreements yesterday, I think it was. This is a big one. Yesterday at the all hands conversation, somebody made a comment. We have better transfer of credit to outside Oklahoma universities than we do inside Oklahoma. That's a challenge. And so one of the challenges when I started this process, and I think I said it with some of you in the interview even, is who are we serving? Are we serving an institution, or are we serving kids who will become future workforce and community members of the state of Oklahoma? That's a challenge, not just for CareerTech, it's across all post-secondary education. All right, these are the 5 areas that we said coming from those themes that we wanted to bring into the strategic plan. So they kind of summarize what we have, and I'm going to move kind of quickly through this unless you all feel you want me to stop because I know of time. Go ahead, next. So real quick, this is what we got for interviews, surveys. If you look at the survey responses that we got, those were actually very high rates. When you're sending it out to things like the public or the partner schools, to have these kind of numbers, we were really pleased with. The interview groups that we did, we got a lot of detail from those stakeholders. And then on the right side, what you see is this was what we call a start, stop, keep, tweak. This is people giving us immediate ideas of things that we need to start doing that we're not doing, stop that we're doing, modify, which is tweak, and keep means don't break it. Okay, all right. All of that fed into the strategic plan. I want to put these up real quick. Go ahead. You can, yeah. These are quotes that we got that I thought you all would like to see as a board from just to get a sense of what's going on from different stakeholder groups. And you've heard a lot of this today, so I thought the video, the conversations, Wes and Ms. V speaking about their students, that is exactly the kind of vibe that you all need to see. What we need, I think, in the state, more people, but especially legislators, hearing those kind of comments. Because when you see these kids, I mean, I just walk out of there going, I'm so optimistic. I do a lot with scouting in the Tulsa area as well. And it amazes me when you see young people who are not sitting idly by. You don't believe the headlines kind of stuff. You see them engaging, wanting to make a difference. Just sometimes there's some impediments. Okay, all right. I'm gonna kind of go through some of these. We'll move into the strategic plan on this one. So let's go ahead. These are some of the stops that we had at a high level. Next one. These are some of the starts that you'll see. So one of the big things that came out of the starts that you're going to see in the strategy is really around that marketing, trying to address some of that brand. And I know that's kind of like an evergreen need, but it's more important now than ever because I'm going to come back to the workforce piece. There's some real challenges in the workforce that I'd say are different that we did not have, say, 10 years ago. In the state of Oklahoma, we're always trying to attract from an economic development side companies to move here. Used to be we'd attract companies, we would showcase CareerTech, we'd showcase all of our 4-year and 2-year universities. The challenge now, though, is that companies want to know, do you have a workforce, I'm not going to say ready, but leaning to ready workforce? And in some cases, in some areas of the state geographically, as well as in some of the needs in the economy, we don't have them. And the question is, how do you get them there? Because the companies are eyeing that to say, you may have the infrastructure ready to go, but do you have the people even ready to go? All right, next. All right, so the 5 pillars, I'm going to move into the strategic plan now. First was, we've changed the mission and the vision as we went through this to share with you. Go ahead, one more, please. So we changed the mission and vision a little bit. What you'll see here is one on the vision side, we brought in the notion of being a national model. So we want to keep that bar. You're already seen as a national model, but the reason that's important is because that's constantly evolving. Second is that you want to make sure that it's fueling prosperity for the state. That's from citizens, that's from businesses, that's in workforce, that's in students. All of that feeds this, and it is one of the, if not the most impactful area because of the skills and trades you're getting. The kids today, one of the things that when we interview them, that they see that CareerTech is a little bit of a different value of just even just a trade. They view it as AI, a way of protecting themselves from an AI risk. So they see it as AI resiliency. So by getting a job doing, or having a skill of being an electrician or HVAC, allows them to say, I have something that I can do. And if I choose to go do something later in life, or in the next few years, go into a 2-year or 4-year university, getting a different job, I still have a skill I can fall back into. And that's really powerful. But the biggest one, I just want to give you a quick aside, students related over and over again. And I know you're looking at the hours of the day when students can attend. We had students that said, we just wish we could go to CareerTech all day. The instructors are passionate about what they do. They know what they do. They inspire us. It's hands-on. It's the way I like to learn. And they literally said, if there was some way we could do CareerTech full-time, that's what they would like to be able to see. So it was just one of those that was interesting. And I know we have to round all that out, but it was the approach to learning and the way they teach, not necessarily just the what. And then on that new mission, just real quick, go back one more. One of the things you'll see on the new mission is we brought in this word right there that says power. CareerTech I view as an engine for the state. I'm a big fan, as you know. I mean, I've worked with Autry, we've worked with Tulsa Tech as well. I just really see the value of what we've been seeing it for a while, but the engine that this creates, the confidence, the resiliency, and the interconnectedness at a community level is huge. Okay, next, go ahead. So there's 5 pillars to the strategic plan. You'll notice we have staff as the foundation. We have workforce and education as the roof, because that's the outward facing, if you will. And then brand and funding are the 2 that are also kind of the instigators or catalysts to get us there. Next one, please. These are the outcomes. So just to give you a sense, when we build strategic plans, we have 3 layers, or if you will. The first layer is our outcomes. So you see the 5 outcomes up here. That says in 3 years, when we've done all of the work, we've implemented all of the initiatives, we've achieved the goals, what does success look like? Because we can have a lot of aspirational thoughts, we get a lot of activity and action, but at the end of the day, how do we know if we achieve victory or we're successful? Below outcomes, and I'll show you this briefly, is that we have goals under each of those. Those are our measure points. Those are like mile markers on the highway to say, am I on path? Am I on track? And then below that are initiatives. Initiatives are the work, the activities, the projects that we do. That is where 90% of a strategy lives after it's been created. The key thing there is that initiatives will change. If an initiative is happening and it's not working, it's not moving the needle towards the goal, you need to stop it or you need to adjust it. You don't just do it and then look up and realize that still didn't work. So I just want you to know that's the part of the strategy that evolves. The outcomes we have to be aligned on. Okay. All right, next one. Let's go in. One more. So I'm going to dive into workforce specifically. I know with you all being here, I'm going to show you how the strategy is built out. I'm not going to go through initiatives on every outcome. Okay. They've got those. They manage those. What you see here is for workforce, there are 2 outcome statements that we put in, mainly because we have 2 stakeholder groups. The first one is that businesses choose Oklahoma because our talent is ready day one. They say, that was an amazing student that came out of your program or your certification. I got to do a little bit, they may say I've got to have a little bit of making it my own company stamp on them, but they're ready to plug in day one. That's a challenge for the CareerTech system and the technology centers to ensure that they are evolving with what their businesses need in the area and the skill sets. The second one, which by the way creates another challenge, because you have a lot of assets, equipment, and facilities across CareerTech that are constantly evolving now. not every 10 or 20 years. The second one is that the students choose the CareerTech because they hear and know it's opening doors for them. So those two are our outcomes for this particular one. You see that we have 6 goals. The workforce, I will say, is the deepest of all of these. Most of them have 3 to 5 goals, but workforce has a lot. Now there's a couple of things in there, and you'll see some of those are basic numbers that we want to have, and we also have like annual targets on those. I will bring your eye to the one at the bottom. You asked me about innovation and creativity. Well, one of the things on the revenue side is to look at where we do have programs that do have seats available or gaps. We have some of these already that are doing it. Is to be attracting students potentially even from out of state after we've addressed if there's Oklahomans that want those particular seats or options, and to be able to look at that as an opportunity as well. Doesn't mean it's a heavy focus initially. There's a lot of strategy work that needs to be done. But the example I've used, if you know about Wichita's Aerospace CareerTech Center, built with partnership with Spirit and Boeing before that, there's people from Oklahoma who go to Wichita to become an MRO maintenance tech, right? So we have model here. How do we get more of them coming here? All right. This shows you then the initiatives. I'm not going to go through all these, but I want you to see what we look at here is what's the work that we need to do to move towards those goals. Every initiative has a start date, has a finish date, has an affected goal that it supports, sometimes more than one. And then it has an owner, and the owners on those are the sponsors from the leadership team. It means they're accountable for that initiative. It does not mean they're doing that initiative. There are leads and team members that are being involved. And a lot of the conversation yesterday with the entire staff was that opportunity that if there's initiatives that you think you want to be on or help with, even if it's not what we thought that area would have been in the agency, reach out. Okay. One more, and then I'm going to open up for questions because you kind of get the flow of how this works. You'll see this one has a lot of initiatives planned out. So let's go one more. Thanks. The other thing that we do, so the first slide that I showed you there with the initiative list is showing you kind of what we call the crosswalk. Do we have from the bottom, being the initiatives, up to the outcomes, full coverage? The second one that this slide shows is, do we have the capacity to do it? So we may want to make a lot of change, but do we have the ability, the staff, the people, the partners to make the change in the time frame we need? As a leader, what I've shared is that the challenge you have is that if you say, I don't have the staff right now, I don't have capacity, some other things have come in, legislative mandate, whatever that may be. The question is, do I move that initiative out a little bit further, or is it so foundational that I need to find capacity, internal, external, whatever that may be? I need this to achieve X later this year. Okay, so we did that for the whole strategic plan as we went through it. Go ahead. Yep, one more. Thank you. Yep, one more. All right, so outcome number 2 is brand. That is that you all are publicly recognized as being a premier workforce development system in Oklahoma. One of the challenges is that our companies, and I'm going to use Enid since I'm Enid native, all right, companies around Enid, like no man's land, are they coming to the CareerTech to say, I need some content, I need some learning to be delivered. I mean, Lisa White and Enid is pretty dang stellar at supervisor and leadership training. So if they come and they say, hey, I don't have a training department, who do I go to? You got great content development, learning, and instructors at these CareerTechs. So that's one of those ways of seeing that's workforce development, and also because it's not just a one and done. That's a real shift I've seen in the technology centers over the years, recent years, is that it used to be, maybe you went through high school, maybe you come later for a certification, and then, hey, good luck, go have fun in your career. Now it's that we're here for you as these certifications evolve, as maybe now you want to start a small business and you don't want to go necessarily to college, but you need some basic accounting. They want to turn to the CareerTechs because they view it as being practical and applicable to their world. People get them. Okay. All right, education. This one's about the flexibility. Everything, as we mentioned earlier, around looking at how and when we teach classes, giving opportunities on that. At the same time, it's looking at how do we make sure that we have transfer credits. So if we have a nursing student that wants to go on to finish the college degree to get the next level certification, they have that ability without it being a reset. And I will tell you, that's a challenge in this state. We definitely heard throughout the conversations and discovery that there's times that you've done things in CareerTech. You may even have a certification, And some universities or colleges, community colleges, may not accept your transfer credits because they want the money as well. And that's a tough reset for kids that may not have a lot of dollars, and they're maybe going to those colleges or universities at night because they're working during the day. Okay, all right. Next one is diversified funding streams. So this has got a number of different aspects, but it is looking to get creative. On 4.2, when you see the X percent, by the way, one of the things I challenge when I work with clients is if you don't know the number today, and data can be a challenge in parts across this entire system, is do not make up a number. Okay, the way I like it is if you don't know how many people are enrolling online, then don't say we're going to grow by 10%. The first step is go find out how many are enrolling online, and then from that, make the recommendation, and more initiatives will come from that of what do we want to do if we don't like the number. All right, and last one, so staff. On staff, it's continuing that engagement, that alignment, making sure that they are set up for success across the system, the statewide system. So you'll see some things that we have on the right side there about buy-in, engagement, conversations, retention, and then professional development. So that was a really fast walkthrough on that first. Any questions? I know, like I said, when you all get this, that's kind of the quick You Are Here map. When you get it, if you have a question, ping me. I'm happy to go and call it, okay? What I want to leave you with is where you go next. So we've shared with the leadership team, and they're running with this already, is on a quarterly basis, you should go ahead and hit the next one if you would. You should review the strategy. I'm a big believer on a quarterly of reviewing the strategy, where they're asking the question of, are we headed in the direction to achieve the goals by the end of the year? Outcomes are beyond a year. Those are 3 years plus. That's what I call staring at the forest from the trees. But the second, if you go next, please, thank you, is that on a monthly basis, you're doing a check-in to say, are we working the plan? Where are we on the initiatives? So that is staring at the trees in the forest. Are we on track for completing or starting an initiative? If not, what needs to change? Is there an impediment? Do you need a decision? Those questions of executing the plan and everything you saw on the right side, those are like sample agendas and questions that we share with leadership teams for how they go about executing and managing this strategic plan implementation. The reason we do that is because if you mix the two, like status of initiatives, with questions of strategic direction, as soon as you go into the details or weeds of status, and you all know this from business experience, as soon as you're in the weeds of business and status, you've lost your brain for thinking strategically. That's why we separate them. All right, let's get one more. So to kind of sum that up, we have outcomes, our goals, or what we call mileposts, initiatives that we work through, and then there is a reflection that's occurring to say, what adjustments do we need to make in the strategic plan? So if you as a board were to say, okay, how are we doing with respect to initiatives? And some of those initiatives are changing or stopping or not starting because we achieved an early initiative and it got us to where we needed to be. We don't need to do the subsequent ones. That's okay. Okay, this is not a static process. Go ahead, you can go ahead and last one. So with that, I'm going to open it up for any other final questions. I know, like I said, I know I was boom, boom, boom for you all, but I knew I wanted to get you out of here on time.
Gina, does this mean we had our baby?
Say it's here.
It was a very fast delivery.
So I'm excited. It's good.
Fast delivery. Questions? For you all, when you ask about innovation, this team is constantly trying to think about innovation. There's so many different angles. I mean, we've had, as Gina said, we had some pushing conversations around that to get outside the boundaries on things like out of state, like looking at how do you get creative in some of your delivery models. The key I want you to take away from this is that there's a lot of great stuff happening in the local technology centers. And then that can be shared across the system. But when you step back and look at Oklahoma as an overall system, it is one of the poster child type of successes in this state. Sometimes when we hear about where we are in numbers in other parts, right, it can be tough. Back to the question of funding, the fact that you're getting 25% of your ask is not tenable long-term, I must say. You got a lot of stuff going on. My fear is you start having to reduce the number of career techs Because one thing we heard so much from kids and students was, I can drive within 30 minutes to a CareerTech. And then you hear all the other things that Gina showed in that video. And I know there's some challenges here on the horizon, both with the upcoming ballot. As an outsider, I look at those things and go, do people really understand the effects that could happen as we're going through? You all are overseeing a real success story in the state. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
With that, thank you.
Please do, if you have questions along the way, reach out to us or Bill. It's been a good process for us to get focused on what we're doing. As you heard of one of the negative comments from the staff is stretched thin. That's probably my fault. So we push pretty hard for change and growth and things like that. So getting us aligned so that we can have a plan is very helpful. So part of that plan is getting the right people in the right seats. And so item 4.02 is discussion and possible action regarding the appointment of Jared Johnson, Dr. Jared Johnson, I won't forget that part, to the position of Director of Student Success. Corey Gray, you guys know, has been with us for quite some time, has taken a position at Metro Tech. And I have hired Jared Johnson, and that would need your approval. You have the opportunity to go into executive session if that would be the motion, or you can approve what's presented.
You like him?
Oh, yeah. Anyone see him? Oh, yeah.
Then I'm good.
Yeah. Good. I'd entertain a motion however you prefer.
Jared worked for you for a while.
Nope, Jared just started.
Where's he from? I don't know any.
Jared comes to us from Autry most recently. Do you want him to talk?
Yeah,
Yeah. Jared, introduce yourself.
I'm Jared Johnson. I came from Autry Technology Center. Before that, I was a pre-K through 12th grade principal at Drummond, and I actually met you at when I was a baby superintendent school. I had to come to a board meeting, and
So that's where I asked your face.
before that, I taught agriculture education for 5 years. So
Okay, great.
very excited to join.
So he's been a teacher, principal, superintendent, and was a director of programs at Autry Tech Center, has a kind of a wide array of experiences in and out of our system. So has done a little bit of everything.
Would you have to relocate to Stillwater?
Not necessarily right now, but I live south of Wacomish right now, so muting for now.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's not necessary. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I very
Thank
to see you again.
Great. Well, I don't think we have a motion yet. She's starting to.
Run at the guys.
Yeah, she's feeling the room out.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Discussion, seeing.
Good hire.
Thank you. Seeing no discussion, Ashley, will you call for a vote?
Brian Hilda,
Yes.
Yes.
Peter Dillingham.
Yes.
Shaylin Danny.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Welcome, Jared. 5.01 is new business, consideration and possible action of new items of business not known or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the posting of the agenda. Is there any new business? Seeing none, do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Actually, will you call for a vote? Sorry, am I going too fast?
Rob Seaman,
Yes.
Shaylin Hanning.
Yes.
Peter Dillingham. Michael Brown.
Yes.
Brian Belton.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys so much for attending today. Also, a copy of the organizational chart is in your packet if you want to get it as we've done this. Yep. Thank you so much for serving. There's a lot today.